Chosen one, can I ask you something sacred? Have you been holding something deep inside your heart, something you don't speak about, but feel every single day? That one ache you carry when the night gets too quiet, or when someone says something that touches an old wound in you. That shadow that follows you even when you smile. That moment you think back to and your chest tightens like it never healed. You've forgiven people before, but not this one, not that, not them, or maybe not yourself. You see, there are some burdens that don't just sit on your shoulders. They weave themselves into your breath, your memory, your identity. And the world looks at you and sees someone kind, someone strong, someone gentle. But what they don't see is the battle behind your eyes. They don't see the silent scream in your spirit when you remember what was taken from you, what was done to you, what was never said, what was never returned, what you lost while trying to keep peace. This is the part of your journey they don't talk about in churches or Sunday sermons. The forgiveness that feels too heavy to offer. The apology that never came. The anger you feel ashamed of because you've been told to just let it go. But what if letting it go was never supposed to be about forgetting? What if forgiveness is actually the key that unlocks your destiny? Because here's the truth, chosen one. You've been carrying something that's not yours to hold anymore, and I know what you're thinking. But they don't deserve forgiveness. They don't even care. They never said sorry. And you're right. Maybe they never will. But you deserve freedom. You deserve to stop bleeding from wounds that others forgot they gave you. You deserve to breathe without the past suffocating your future. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, I promise, we're going to open a door that was always yours to walk through. Now I'll ask you something serious. You have a choice right now. You can click away, go back to the noise, the scrolling, the distraction, and lose the clarity your soul's been crying for. Or you can stay until the end. Stay and receive the words that were meant to confirm what your spirit already knows. And if you do, you'll walk away lighter, stronger, remembering. This isn't just a video. This is a sacred space, a divine moment. This found you now because God's timing is never random. Maybe you've been feeling forgotten by destiny. Maybe you've been wondering if it's too late to start over spiritually. Maybe this pain has made you question if you were ever really chosen by God at all. But let me tell you something that only your spirit will understand. The chosen ones are not chosen because life was easy. They are chosen because they carry heaven inside broken places, and forgiveness is the bridge between the pain and the power. You're standing at that bridge now. Don't turn back. If this speaks to you, if even a part of your heart whispered yes while listening, then this message is yours. I want you to comment 111 or 777 right now, not for me, for you, as a sign to heaven and to yourself that you're ready. Ready to release, ready to receive, ready to walk lighter. Like this message. Subscribe to this channel, not because the algorithm needs it, but because your spirit does, so you never miss the reminders you didn't know you were waiting for. This is a place where the heavy things can fall off, where the soul comes to remember what it forgot. Whenever the world gets too heavy, this space is here. Come back to rest your soul. Now breathe. We're about to begin. Chosen one, I know you've been carrying something, and I know you didn't choose to. Maybe it's a burden that has followed you your whole life, or perhaps it's something that came later when the weight of the world started to press down a little too hard. You see, there's a spiritual law that no one really talks about. The weight we carry isn't always ours to bear. But because we're the chosen ones, we often take on more than we were ever meant to. Sometimes we think we're supposed to carry the weight of other people's actions, other people's expectations, even their mistakes. But listen closely to me now. The burden you've been carrying was never yours. Maybe it started with the things they told you. Maybe it was the words spoken over you in moments of weakness. You were too sensitive, too slow, too quiet. Maybe it was the parent who never understood you, or the friend who betrayed you, the church that rejected you, the spouse that abandoned you, the sibling who took and never gave back. Each time you gathered a piece of that pain and carried it, thinking it was part of your journey. But that weight, it's not yours. It was handed to you. And somewhere along the way, you made it your responsibility to carry it. You've been made to believe that forgiveness means excusing what they did. That by forgiving, you're somehow letting them off the hook. But that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. You see, when you carry the pain of others, you imprison your own soul. That weight blocks the flow of your destiny. It stifles the peace and the clarity that are waiting to flood into your life. And I know it's hard to imagine that letting go of all this will make a difference. But I promise you, the moment you release the weight that's not yours to carry, you make room for the divine truth to break through. Take a moment right now. Think of the people you've been carrying. Maybe it's that unforgiven moment from your childhood, or the grudge you've held onto from a failed relationship. Maybe it's something from your church or your community. Maybe it's even something you've carried against yourself. The shame, the guilt, the confusion about who you really are. All of it is holding you back from the divine calling that was placed in your soul long before you ever even knew it. Now, I want you to hear this clearly. That weight, that burden, that pain is not the price of your purpose. It never was. It's a distraction, a divine detour, and you've been walking with it, wondering why you're so tired, wondering why you've been delayed. The truth is, you've been delayed by your own forgiveness, by holding on to something you were never meant to carry. You were meant to be light. You were meant to walk freely into the life that God has planned for you. The Bible tells us, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and He shall sustain you." Psalm 55:22. What a promise. The moment you let go of that weight, God is ready to sustain you. He's ready to carry it for you, but you have to trust Him enough to release it. Now take a deep breath. Let that sink in. The weight you've carried was never yours. And right now, you have the power to choose, to keep carrying it or to let it go and step into the freedom that's been waiting for you all along. Because when you release that burden, chosen one, you make space for something beautiful to emerge. And that something is your divine purpose, your destiny, and your calling. So, ask yourself right now, are you ready to let go of the weight that's not yours to carry? Are you ready to cast it onto God, and in doing so, free your heart, your spirit, and your soul? The choice is yours. And I promise, the moment you do, everything will begin to change. Chosen one, I hear you. I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, this sounds nice, but you don't know my pain. You don't know what they did. You don't know how deep this wound runs. And I won't pretend I do. But I do know that sometimes the hardest thing in the world is to forgive those who've wronged us. Sometimes it feels impossible. In fact, the thought of it may make your heart race, your chest tighten, and your breath catch. Forgiveness might feel like a mountain you can't climb, and the very idea of letting go feels like betrayal to the pain you've carried for so long. But here's the truth. Forgiveness is not about saying that what they did was okay. It's not about excusing their behavior or telling yourself it wasn't that bad. Forgiveness is about reclaiming your own heart, about freeing yourself from the chains that bind you to someone else's wrongs. The ones who hurt you, they've gone on with their lives moving forward while you stand still, bound by what they did. That's the curse of unforgiveness. It doesn't trap them. It traps you. I know you've carried this pain for so long that it feels like part of your identity. Maybe it was a betrayal from someone you trusted. Maybe it was a loved one who let you down, or a mistake you can't forgive yourself for. Maybe it was a parent who never saw you for who you truly are, or someone who took from you in ways that can never be returned. I know the weight. I know how it sits in your soul, how it seeps into your thoughts, coloring your view of the world and your future. But I need you to hear this. That weight is a lie. The pain that you've held onto is not the truth of who you are. The Bible reminds us in Matthew 18:21-22. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?" Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Forgiveness is not a single act. It's a continual sacred choice. It's a process. It's not about feeling the right way. It's about doing the right thing. Every time you choose to forgive, you free yourself a little more. And in that freedom, you become the person God always intended you to be. Forgiveness is not a destination. It's a journey, a process, a release. But I know how hard it is. I know it doesn't feel fair. You didn't ask for the pain. You didn't ask for the hurt, the loss, the betrayal. I know. But what if I told you that the forgiveness you think you're giving to them, you're really giving to yourself? What if the strength it takes to forgive doesn't make you weak, but makes you powerful? You see, when you forgive, you break the chain. You take back the control. You step out of the shadows of your past and into the light of your future. And here's the real miracle. Forgiveness doesn't make the pain go away. It doesn't wipe the slate clean. It doesn't make the person who wronged you suddenly worthy of your trust again. What it does is it releases you from the prison you've built with your own pain. It opens the door for healing. It opens the door for the person you are meant to become. Jesus showed us what it means to forgive, even when it's the hardest thing to do. In Luke 23:34, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Even as he hung on the cross in excruciating pain, he chose to forgive. He chose to release the debt. He chose to love, even when love seemed impossible. I know you're not on a cross, chosen one, but I know the feeling of being hung up by someone else's choices. And yet, there is a power in forgiveness that can transform your life. It's a supernatural strength that comes from above, the same strength that was in Christ. When you forgive, you are tapping into that divine power, the power that allows you to walk free, no longer bound by the hurt others caused. It's not about excusing their actions. It's about giving yourself the permission to move on. So I ask you, chosen one, what would happen if you chose to forgive today? What would your life look like if you gave yourself the gift of release? Can you trust that the divine has something waiting for you on the other side of your pain? I believe you can, and I believe that you're ready. You are ready to choose freedom. You are ready to reclaim your soul. And that, my friend, is what makes the impossible possible. Chosen one, there is a feeling that haunts many who walk the path of the chosen ones, a feeling that whispers in quiet moments, "Maybe I've missed it. Maybe I was never meant for this after all. Maybe I'm too far behind to catch up." You look around and see others living their lives, moving forward, achieving their dreams, while you feel stuck, waiting for a sign, waiting for something to happen. But all you feel is the silence, the waiting, and the weight of time passing by. You see, there is a moment in every chosen one's life when they wonder if they were forgotten by destiny. The world seems to move on without them, and they feel like they're standing still, waiting for the divine call that never comes. And in that moment of silence, it's easy to believe that perhaps you've missed your chance, perhaps you weren't chosen after all. But let me tell you something that might sound strange, yet it's truth. Your waiting, your silence, your feeling of being forgotten, It's part of your divine design. You see, the chosen ones are not called when they're ready. They are called when they are prepared. And that preparation isn't always visible. It doesn't always come in the form of outward success or clear direction. Sometimes it comes in the form of stillness, of waiting, of being hidden. Look at the story of Joseph in the Bible, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison. For years, he sat in a place of silence, forgotten by those who once knew him. And for years, it seemed like he was moving further and further from his destiny. But in reality, he was being prepared. And when the time was right, when he had been shaped and refined in those years of solitude, he stepped into his purpose. He became the man who saved nations. Joseph could have easily given up. He could have looked around and said, "I was forgotten. My dreams were a lie. This life is not for me." But he didn't. Instead, he allowed the silence to prepare him for the greatest moment of his life. And I want you to know that your silence is not wasted. Your waiting is not in vain. You are being prepared for something greater than you can see right now. We sometimes feel like the waiting means we've missed our calling, but what if it's exactly where we're meant to be? Sometimes the silence is the sacred space where God works the deepest changes in us. It's where our hearts are purified, where our strength is built, and where we are made ready for what is to come. Psalm 27:14 says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." It doesn't say to rush, it doesn't say to force your own way. It says to wait, to be strong in the waiting, to trust in the silence. You are not forgotten, you are being prepared. When you feel forgotten by destiny, remember that God's timing is not the world's timing. His ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. There is a divine purpose in every moment of your life, even in the waiting. You are not behind. You are right where you need to be. And when the time is right, when you are ready, the door will open and you will step into your destiny, just as Joseph did, just as all the chosen ones do. So I ask you, chosen one, can you trust that this waiting is part of your divine preparation? Can you believe that the silence is not the end, but the beginning of something greater than you ever imagined? You are not forgotten. You are being made ready. And that is the greatest gift you can receive. Chapter 4. The sacred cost of carrying pain. Word count, approximately 800. Chosen one. There is a cost to the pain we carry. It's not just emotional. It seeps into every part of our lives, into our relationships, our work, our health, our peace. Pain has a way of shaping us, of making us believe that it is a part of who we are. The betrayal, the grief, the wounds left open for too long, they don't just mark our hearts, they imprint themselves on our souls. And the longer we hold on to them, the more they begin to define us. But let me tell you something that might be hard to hear. When you carry the pain of the past, it starts to weigh you down in ways that you don't even realize. Pain becomes the lens through which you view the world. It distorts your perception of yourself, of others, and even of God. It tells you that you are broken, that you are unworthy, that you are incomplete. And while that pain is real, it is not your truth. The cost of carrying it for too long is far greater than you realize. I know you're tired. I know you're weary. There are moments when it feels like you can't take another step, and all you want is rest. And yet, you keep carrying the weight. You carry it because you think it's yours to hold. You carry it because you believe that somehow you're the one who has to bear it for everyone else. But what if I told you that the pain you've been holding on to doesn't serve you? What if it's not a part of your calling, but a distraction from it? What if the cost of carrying that pain is keeping you from stepping into the life you were meant to live? In the Bible, we see this truth echoed time and time again. Take, for example, the story of Moses. He was born into a life of suffering, raised in an Egypt that was not his home. He fled into the desert, carrying the shame of his past actions, wondering if he was ever meant for anything greater. He could have let the weight of his mistakes define him. He could have let his past pain be the story he told about himself. But instead, he let that pain shape his purpose. And in the wilderness, he was prepared, not by escaping his pain, but by embracing the lessons it brought. And when God called him, he was ready. Moses' story shows us that there is a sacred purpose in the pain we carry. It's not easy, and it doesn't always make sense in the moment. But that pain is refining you, purifying you, preparing you for something greater. The cost of carrying pain isn't just the emotional toll, it's the spiritual cost of not fully stepping into who you are meant to be. Every time you carry that weight, it's holding you back from your destiny. And yet, here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to carry that pain forever. You weren't meant to. You see, when we forgive, when we release, we break free from the cost of carrying that pain. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It doesn't take away the hurt. But it allows us to move forward without that weight, without that cost. It's a divine exchange. The pain is transformed into power. The wound becomes a well of strength, a place where God's grace flows through, a place where the healing begins. In 2 Corinthians 1:3-4, we read, "Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God." This is the power of healing. The pain you carry, when released, becomes a tool for your transformation. And not only that, it becomes a tool to help others heal. The very thing that hurt you will become the source of strength for someone else. You see, chosen one, when you release that pain, it doesn't just set you free, it opens up a well of compassion and healing for the world around you. But you have to make the choice. Will you continue to carry the pain, letting it weigh you down and keep you from the life you were meant to live? Or will you release it, knowing that the cost of carrying it is too high and that the power of forgiveness is the key to your freedom? I know it's not easy, but I also know this. You are stronger than the pain you've been carrying. And the moment you choose to release it, you will step into a life of purpose, power, and peace. You were never meant to walk this journey alone. You were never meant to carry this weight by yourself. Trust that God is with you, holding you, ready to heal what's broken and to carry the cost of that pain for you. Chosen one, there's something incredibly important I need to speak to your soul about. It's a truth that many are afraid to face, but one that holds the key to your freedom. You were not chosen to get revenge. You were not chosen to prove others wrong. You were not chosen to make them pay for the things they did to you. You were chosen to heal. You were chosen to break the cycle of pain, not to carry it forward. I know. Deep inside, there's a part of you that still feels the need for justice. There's a part of you that wants the wrongdoers to pay, to feel the weight of their actions, to see them suffer as you have. And that feeling is natural. But here's what I want you to understand. Revenge is not your birthright, healing is. You've been chosen for something far greater than seeking payback. The world may tell you that justice is in the hands of the strong, but in the kingdom of God, justice is in the hands of the healer. You are not here to fight battles that belong to the Lord. You are here to walk in the footsteps of Christ, to forgive and to heal, to love even when it's hardest. That's where true power lies. Let me take you to a moment in the Bible that perfectly captures this truth. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus speaks of love, not just love for those who love us, but love for those who hate us, who betray us, who persecute us. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. This is the divine call for those who are chosen. Not to fight back, not to demand an eye for an eye, but to love beyond the wounds. To love so deeply that it heals the very places we were hurt. Forgiveness isn't about letting the person who wronged you off the hook. No, forgiveness is about letting you off the hook. It's about releasing yourself from the shackles of anger, hatred, and bitterness. It's about setting down the weight of revenge, knowing that it only holds you captive. But you must make the choice. The choice to release. The choice to forgive. It's a choice that requires courage, because it's not easy. It means letting go of the things that have hurt you, the things that have shaped your story. But it also means stepping into your true power, your true identity as a chosen one. When you release the past, you open the door to the future. A future where you are no longer held back by what was done to you, but empowered by what you can now do for the world. A future where you are free to embrace your calling, free to walk in your purpose, and free to love and live without the weight of yesterday's pain. Now, I want you to take a moment and reflect. Think about what you've been holding on to. Who do you need to forgive? What part of your past are you still holding on to? It's time to let it go. It's time to release it and step into the power that is waiting for you. The moment you release it, whether it's the pain of betrayal, the guilt of the past, the shame of your mistakes, or the hurt from others, you will experience a freedom like never before. You will feel lighter. You will feel the weight of the world lift off your shoulders, and you will find that in that release, you've stepped into the fullness of your divine purpose. So, I ask you now, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to release the past and reclaim your power? Because when you do, chosen one, you will walk in freedom, and you will never be the same again. Chosen one, there's something that many fail to understand about the journey you're on. It's not a journey for the faint-hearted, nor is it a journey that promises fairness. In fact, the road you walk is often filled with pain, confusion, and hardships that others can't understand. And that can make you feel like the universe is against you, like life is unfair, and that maybe, just maybe, you were never meant to walk this path in the first place. But let me tell you this. The path of the chosen ones is not about fairness. It's about holiness. It's about being set apart for something greater than what this world offers. The struggles you face, the betrayals you endure, the emotional pain you carry, it's not because life is unfair. It's because you are being shaped for something divine. The world may never see it, and others may not understand, but everything you've walked through has been part of the process of making you holy. You've faced hardships that others may never understand. You've carried burdens that were never yours to bear, and you've felt like you've been overlooked by the very ones who should have seen you. You've struggled in silence, questioning whether the pain was worth it, questioning if you've been forgotten by destiny. And there's a temptation to look at your journey and think, this isn't fair. Why me? But chosen one, this path is not about fairness. It's about divine purpose. You've been chosen because you have the strength to carry the weight of your calling. You've been chosen because you are capable of transforming the pain into power, the hurt into healing. You've been chosen because God saw something in you that no one else could see, the strength, the resilience, and the capacity to be an instrument of His will. I know it's hard to see it now. The struggles, the obstacles, the delays, they all seem like signs that the path isn't meant for you. But let me remind you, you were never promised a path without pain. You were promised a purpose. And sometimes that purpose requires a purification that only hardship can bring. Look at the story of Job in the Bible. Job was a man who faced unimaginable loss, his wealth, his health, and his family, all taken away. He was left in the depths of despair, questioning God's fairness. Yet, through it all, Job remained faithful. And in the end, God restored him, not just with material wealth, but with a deeper understanding of his divine purpose. Job's path wasn't fair, but it was holy. And through it, he was refined into someone who could carry the weight of divine blessing. Your path is holy, chosen one, and though it may not seem fair, it is shaping you into someone who can carry the glory of God in ways others cannot. The pain you've experienced has not been in vain. It has been part of your preparation. And one day, when you look back, you will see that every step, every tear, every struggle has been a step toward your divine destiny. Remember this, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. God's plan for you is not about comfort, it's about purpose. And even when the path doesn't seem fair, you can trust that it is holy. You were chosen for this. The pain is part of your sanctification, and the glory that awaits you will far outweigh the struggles you've endured. So, I ask you, chosen one, will you accept the holy path laid before you? Will you trust that the pain, though unfair, is leading you to something greater than you can imagine? Because the road ahead is not one of ease, it's one of divine purpose, and you were made for it. Chosen one, there comes a point in your journey where you realize that everything you've been waiting for, everything you've been striving toward, hinges on one simple but profound act: forgiveness. The truth is, the door to your destiny is locked by the chains of unforgiveness, and until you release those chains, you will find yourself standing at the threshold of your future, unable to step through. I know you've been waiting for something, waiting for a sign, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect alignment of circumstances. But the truth is, your future isn't locked in time or circumstance, it's locked in your heart. The moment you forgive, the door to destiny swings wide open. Forgiveness isn't just a spiritual concept, it's a key. It's the key that unlocks the potential you've been carrying all along. You see, unforgiveness keeps you chained to the past, keeps you locked in a place where you are defined by your wounds and your hurts. And as long as you hold on to those things, you remain trapped in a cycle that prevents you from moving forward. But when you choose forgiveness, you release yourself from that cycle. You open the door to everything that God has promised you. Let me take you back to a moment in the Bible, a moment when the power of forgiveness changed everything. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, and forgotten by the very people who should have cared for him. But when the time came and he was positioned to take revenge, he didn't. Instead, he forgave. And in that moment of forgiveness, his destiny was unlocked. The door to his future opened, not just for him, but for his family, for an entire nation. Joseph's forgiveness didn't erase the pain of what was done to him, but it allowed him to step into a divine purpose that was far greater than his personal suffering. It allowed him to be positioned as a leader, not just in Egypt, but in God's grand plan for his people. Forgiveness, chosen one, is not about making the past okay. It's not about erasing the hurt. It's about opening your heart to the future that God has waiting for you. It's about releasing the chains that hold you to what was, so you can step freely into what can be. It's about letting go of the bitterness, the resentment, the anger, and embracing the freedom that comes with a clean heart. In Matthew 18:21-22, Jesus tells us, "Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, 'Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?' Jesus answered, 'I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. Forgiveness is not a one-time act. It's a continual release. It's a process. Every time the hurt rises again, you forgive. Every time the memory returns, you let it go. And in doing so, you open the door to your divine destiny, again and again. Chosen one, I know the hurt runs deep. I know the wounds are real, but I also know that the life you were meant to live is waiting for you on the other side of forgiveness. When you forgive, you don't just release the past, you step into the fullness of your calling. You make room for the future that has always been yours. And in that future, you will find peace, you will find purpose, you will find the freedom you've been seeking. So I ask you now, chosen one, are you ready to open the door to your destiny? Are you ready to forgive, not for them, but for you? Because on the other side of forgiveness is everything you've been waiting for. It's time to step through. The door is waiting, and it's unlocked by the key of your heart. Chosen one, as we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to understand one thing. This moment, this very moment, is your homecoming. It's the moment you have been waiting for. The moment you realize that you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked. You were chosen by God for this journey, and everything you have walked through has been preparing you for this divine moment of release, of healing, and of stepping fully into your destiny. I know that the road has not been easy. I know that the pain, the struggles, the betrayals, and the wounds you've carried have been heavy. But now, chosen one, you stand on the edge of freedom. You stand at the threshold of your true calling, and the only thing standing between you and that destiny is your willingness to forgive, to release, and to step forward in faith. This is your homecoming. You have wandered, you have suffered, you have wondered, and you have waited. But the waiting is over. The moment you choose forgiveness, the moment you release the weight that has been holding you back, the door to your purpose swings wide open. It's time to walk through. It's time to step into the fullness of who you are. The Bible reminds us that God has a plan for us, a plan that is good and full of hope. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. The future God has for you is waiting, chosen one. And it's beautiful. It's greater than anything you have imagined. But it requires your trust. It requires your release. It requires your forgiveness. When you forgive, you don't just free the other person, you free yourself. You free your heart from the chains of the past, and you open up your spirit to the peace, the joy, and the purpose that God has been preparing for you all along. You step into the life you were meant to live, the life that has always been waiting for you. So, I ask you one final time, chosen one, will you walk through the door to your destiny? Will you choose to forgive, not for them, but for you? Will you release the weight that has been holding you back and step into the power that God has placed within you? You are ready. You were always ready. And the time has come. As you step forward, know this: you are not alone. You are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, by those who have gone before you, and by the divine presence that is with you every step of the way. You are home, and your journey is just beginning. And so, chosen one, I leave you with this. Comment 777 if your heart feels lighter, if you are ready to walk in the freedom that forgiveness brings. Like, share, and subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the path of healing that you are about to walk. This is not the end. This is the beginning of your divine journey, and I am honored to walk with you. Whenever the world gets too heavy, come back here. This space will always be here for you to rest your soul, to remember who you truly are. Go in peace, chosen one. You are free.